Welcome back to Fab Automotive Detailing. You guys, this video, we're going to talk about 10 myths in the detailing world. Let's do it. All right, you guys, so before we get this video started, take a second, go down below the video, hit that subscribe button, turn on the little bell so that every time I upload a video, you do get notified. Now, I do want to say before we get too deep in this video, that this video is, in my opinion, and my opinion only. I've put out some 10 best of or 10 tools you need type videos, and you guys have really enjoyed them and asked me to continue to keep them coming. So I've been brainstorming and trying to think of some videos. I've got some stuff written down, and today is going to be 10 myths in the detailing world. All right, you guys, so number 10 on my list is wax is dead. Paste waxes, liquid waxes are still a great option. A lot of people don't want to mess with ceramic coatings. There's so many people that say, well, the only thing on the market really that's worth using is ceramic coatings. That's the furthest from the truth that there is. I mean, Carnauba waxes and paint sealants are still really good forms of protection. The downside is you just have to do it more often. Some people, and I dare I say my age, 40 years old and older, a lot of them don't want to use a ceramic coating, nor do they want to take the time to learn how to do a ceramic coating. So what they do, they go out and they buy a Carnauba wax or a paint sealant of some sort that they know is going to be a wipe on, wipe off easy. They don't have to worry about messing it up. Me personally, I still enjoy waxing. A lot of these companies like Turtle Waxes, Graphene, Paste Wax right here, this is going to give you 1 year of protection, and the hydrophobics are fantastic. I still enjoy doing it because in my opinion, it's less stress than a ceramic coating, because ceramic coating, you do have to worry about high spots and make sure you get your overlapping done. With a wax like this, you just put it on, remove it, and you're done. There's no more stress after that at all. So I would say that the majority of the world, for the most part, probably still uses waxes and sealants. I can tell you the places that I go for my business, I see more waxes, like Carnauba waxes and paint sealants, than I do ceramic coatings anywhere else. That's why I say wax is dead is the number 10 myth in the detailing world. Number 9 is clay removes scratches. That is a big myth. I have seen it on YouTube. I'm not saying any YouTubers that did it. I have never seen a YouTuber say that, but comments on YouTube. My Facebook groups that I'm a part of, Instagram, people say, oh, well, all you have to do is just clay the paint really quick. It's gonna remove the swirls and then put some wax on, you're good to go. That could be furthest from the truth. Clay is an abrasive. Clay is going to micro mar the surface. You're actually telling people the complete opposite of what clay is supposed to do. Clay is only removing the contaminants on top of the paint, not the embedded contaminants on top of the paint. It's just removing the contaminants. That's it. It's not removing any scratches. If you have a good sealant on it or ceramic coating, it's not going to remove those. I would not recommend claying a ceramic coating unless you're using a very fine clay and you absolutely have to do it. But I see it all the time that people say clay removes scratches, and that is definitely a big myth, and that's why it's number 9. So number 8 on the list is ceramic coatings resist scratching. Now this can go kind of on the border of a myth. And I say that because if you have very, very minor swirls, I think ceramic coatings are definitely going to help you out from like toweling marks and stuff like that. But as far as scratches, like I've seen commercials of people running keys down or whatever, it is not going to risk that type of scratching. There's no protection on the market that's going to resist that type of scratches on your car. Now I have seen Pan put I think it was a YouTube short out of Dr. Beasley's has this new self-healing ceramic coating, which is very interesting. So what they do is they purposely put swirls in the paint, and then they take a heat gun, the sun, they take a heat gun in it because they're indoors, and they do this, and it gets the panel hot, and it self-heals. Those scratches are gone. So what that's transferring to is when you get the swirls in your car, the minor swirls, and you park it outside in the sun, and that paint gets baked by the sun, those minor swirls are going to self-heal. The coating is going to self-heal and get rid of them. That is the only way that I would say a coating is going to resist scratches. It's not going to resist somebody trying to key your car, a branch flying off the road, going across your hood. There is nothing that's going to stop anything like that. So that's why it's number 8 is ceramic coatings resist scratches. Number 7, foam cannons are a must. That is just not true. Do they help? Yes, they do help. But it's not true that you have to have it to wash your car. What did we do all the years before foam cannons came out? We still washed our cars with a hose and a bucket, and if you were smart, you would have no problems. You pre-rinse the car to get all the heavy stuff off. and then you wash the car top to bottom, and you're good to go. I've seen so many videos say you have to have a foam cannon, so that means you have to have a pressure washer. I just think that people saying that you have to use a foam cannon for a car wash really need to rethink that what they're saying, because you don't have to have a foam cannon. I have several foam cannons. I have one that goes on the garden hose that puts out just a little bit of foam. But I can tell you on multiple occasions that I don't use foam cannons. A lot of times I do on YouTube videos because of course that's what everybody wants to see. They want to see the cool foam, but you don't have to have a foam cannon to wash your car. And that's why that's number 7 on my list. So number 6, black paint is the hardest to correct. That is very wrong. And it also depends on the make and model of your car. I can tell you a Tesla black paint is not any harder to correct than a Ford black paint. The Tesla is just extremely soft. It's not the color, it's the clear coat you're dealing with. Everybody always says that. I have people tell me all the time that you shouldn't make any YouTube videos on any colors but black, because that shows us everything. It shows us how well you're doing your paint correction. That's just not reality. Reality is there's many colors on the road: white, red, green, blue, tan, whatever, gray, that if you can make a white car shine on a video, people will really see not only what you can do, but what the product you're using can do. But that white car corrects the same. If I buy a white, I'm just going to continue using Ford, and a black Ford that came from the same factory, they're getting the same clear coat. It's correcting the exact same. You just see more on the black car. So that is why that's number 6. Black paint is the hardest to correct. Number 5, the higher the price of the product, the better. That is a humongous myth. Don't get me wrong. There are some products out there that cost a lot of money, or a tool that costs a lot of money, that work better than anything else on the market. That is absolutely true. But there is, especially in the detailing world, a lot of products that don't cost very much. They're down here compared to some products that are way up here that work better than the products that are way up here. So that's a huge myth that people think that, well, if I buy the most expensive pressure washer, buy the most expensive foam cannon, or buy the most expensive ceramic coating, that my car is going to look the best. Technique is the main thing when it comes to making your car look its absolute best, not the tools that you use. Are they helpful? Absolutely. The product that you're using is another thing that's going to get your car looking the absolute best. I can take Turtle Wax's new spray wax, I can't think of the name, Minute Wax, and put it up against any other spray wax on the market, and I'm telling you, that stuff is going to definitely beat it, because that stuff is really good, and it's only $8.50 per bottle. The downside is people are like, well, Turtle Wax, I'm not going to buy it because it's Turtle Wax, but they have made a full circle. Actually, I've done a 180, because you make a full circle, you're back to where you began. They've done a 180, you guys, and they're a completely different company. But people just want to bash them because they are cheaper products. That does not mean that they're bad or that they're worse than the more expensive products. And that just drives me nuts when you see these people telling you have to buy a $1,000 pressure washer. You don't. You can buy a $200 pressure washer that's going to give you the same results in your driveway that expensive one's going to give you. Now, if you're doing it professionally and you're looking for longevity, the most expensive one up there and pressure washer is probably going to be your best bet, because you can service them and everything else yourself as far as changing the oil. The cheaper ones are not serviceable. They have a 1 or 2 year lifetime or whatever, and then they're gone. But if you're doing it in your driveway every single time you're doing it and you're not doing it professionally, you can make a pressure washer last a long time. And it just drives me nuts. People say you have to buy the most expensive. Well, if you don't have this pressure washer, then you don't know what you're doing. And that is the furthest from the truth. And that's why that's number 5. Higher prices do not mean better. Number 4 on the list, you guys, is never pressure wash a motorcycle. This one kind of boggles my mind. The older motorcycles back in the day, I can understand it. Gaskets weren't the same. Electrical connectors weren't the same. A lot of the wheel bearings were kind of open bearings for the most part that you have to grease. But these newer bikes, the engines are sealed. All the electrical connectors are sealed. The bearings are all sealed bearings. You don't have to worry about it. Now, you have to be smart about it. You can't be dumb. You can't be spraying it right in the intake and then starting the engine and letting it just pull the water in. You cover the intake with a bag. Anything that you don't want a bunch of water in, you cover with a bag, and you can pressure wash a motorcycle no problem. I'm a part of some Facebook groups, motorcycle groups on Facebook, and we have discussed this. I've seen people pressure wash their bikes, and I've commented on it. People say, well, you're an idiot. Never, ever, ever, ever use a pressure washer on your motorcycle. And I'm just like, this is just the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You don't know what you're talking about. Back in the day, I'd say, yeah, don't do it. But now these newer bikes, absolutely, zero issue at all pressure washing them. Same thing goes for lawnmowers. I've had people in some of my Facebook groups say, don't ever pressure wash your John Deere, because I own John Deere's. My wife works at a John Deere dealership. I go into her dealership all the time, and guess what they're doing? They're using high pressure water to clean the used lawnmowers and the new ones and get them ready to put them on the lot. There's no issue at all if you're smart about what you're doing. And it just drives me nuts that these people that are just these diehard know-it-alls, think they know everything, you know nothing, that want to tell you that you can't do this, you can't do that, that really have no freaking clue what they're talking about. And pressure washing motorcycles, I've done it for years. I've detailed many bikes over the years and never had one single issue. So number 4 is pressure washing motorcycles. Number 3 is you need high heat to correct paint. That is false. Do not do that. If somebody tells you that, walk away or just completely ignore what they're saying, because that is wrong. You're going to damage your paint. You can burn through your paint. You're making yourself believe you removed something that you actually didn't, because once the swelling comes back down to clear coat, it's going to be right back. I'm part of a Facebook group, you guys. He's also a YouTuber, and he shows how to correct paint correctly, correcting paint 101, whatever. And he shows correcting the paint, and then he puts his hand on the panel, and he said if he can leave it on there, it's not hot enough. If he has to put it on there and immediately remove it, then the panel is plenty hot enough for the paint correction. You have just given a lot of people that watch your videos wrong information, and if that's what you're doing to your customers' high-end cars, you are doing a disservice to your customers because you are hurting their paint. Don't do it. You do not need high heat to correct paint. You need it about room temperature, a little bit more. You don't want to go much hotter than that. Do you need heat to correct paint? Absolutely, you do need a little bit of heat to correct paint, but not that so hot that you can't put your hand on it. That's just mind-boggling to me once again, that somebody be willing to give people that type of information, and they're going to go and transfer it to their car and have a chance of damaging their paint. It kills me, you guys. So number 3 is you need high heat to correct paint. Number 2 on the list, you guys, is you don't have to follow up a compound. This one right here, I see people say all the time, well, if you use a compound but the paint looks really good, then you're fine. You can put a ceramic coating on, you can put you can do whatever you want, put a wax on, put a sealant on, whatever. And I made a video not too long ago where I had a hood on a Wrangler that was pretty destroyed, and we used a compound on it, and we took the paint light, and we're like, that looks pretty good. It looked clear, the scratches were gone, and I was like, okay, we're happy with this. But the purpose of that video was to show you the importance of a finishing polish. So then I taped off a little box, and then we used a finishing polish on the rest, and man, did it clear the paint up. You could definitely see where the compounding stage was versus the polishing stage. So if I would have just put a coating over the top of that, that paint would have looked pretty bad, especially on down the road. But by going with the finishing polish, you're removing some of the micro marring or haziness you put in during the compounding process to make the paint crystal clear before you put your protection on. It's just a myth that you don't have to follow up a compound as long as it looks good. I see it out where I go. When I go around to detail shops and body shops and dealerships where they're just compounding it and they think it looks pretty good and they just throw some protection on it and get it out the door, that is wrong. You definitely need to follow it up with a finishing polish of some sort. So number 2 is you don't have to follow up a compound. All right, you guys, so we're down to number 1, and this is going to ruffle some feathers, that is for sure. And that's why I have it as number 1. The biggest myth that I see is you have to use 2 buckets when washing a car. I've told you guys this many times. I am not a 2-bucket person. I've never been a 2-bucket person. Do I have a 2-bucket setup? Absolutely. I actually won it in a giveaway, and I have used it, and it was a pain in the butt. Get yourself a decent bucket. Get yourself a really good grit guard from like the Detail Guards that has the turbine dirt lock filter with the pump on it. You will be amazed how much stuff is underneath that when you get done, because it can't come back up. The other thing is you can rinse your glove out every time you get done passing, and then you can put it back in the bucket. I understand saying you should use 2 buckets. I get it. I understand the process and everything like that. But then you see people putting grit guards or expensive Detail Guards in both buckets. I just think it's overkill. For years and years and years and years, we used soap, bucket, and wash mitt and a hose, and that was it. And my car still looked really good. All these years that I've been doing a single wash method, I've never had an issue with swirl marks on my paint. So I know that you do not have to use a 2-bucket method. Now, if you feel more comfortable using 2-bucket method, absolutely do it. A lot of people just take 1 bucket and they have multiple wash mitts or multiple microfiber towels. That is fine too. But the biggest myth to me in the detailing world is you have to have 2 buckets to wash your car, and that absolutely drives me nuts. All right, you guys, so that's gonna be it for this video. That is 10 myths in detailing world. That is all my opinion and my opinion only, you guys. If you don't agree with something that I said on there, put it down in the comment section. I have no problem debating and talking to people and trying to understand. Maybe there's a good reason you say, no, that's not correct, Fab. This is correct. And I'm like, okay, that kind of makes sense. I'm not opposed to that. I respect everybody's right to their opinion, as I expect people to respect my right to my opinion. A lot of this stuff, a few of these I know of that may ruffle some feathers, but it's something that I've thought about, especially over the last 4 years since I've been doing YouTube videos, since I've been paying attention to the detailing world on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and then over this last year and a half that I've owned my own business, driving around to detail shops, body shops, dealerships and stuff like that, and hearing people say certain things that I'm like, no, that's not right. So that's how I come up with this type of list, you guys. So there's something that maybe I didn't think of and it's not on the list. You're like, yeah, Fab, this should be on the list too. Put it down in the comment section, you guys. Let me know. I love reading stuff like that and getting other people's opinion. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, join the Fab family. We'd love to have you, and we'll see you in the next video.